I have been poisoned and I'm about to die. I have just enough time to think. It's all lies, what they say about death. My whole life, it's not flashing before my eyes. The faces of those dearest to me do not appear. Neither do angels or a dazzling light. I am dying looking at a wall. The voices become indistinct, and the last words I hear are the woman shouting, "No, stay awake, stay awake." Then I died. Spoiler alert, actually, I didn't. Those words were uttered by Alexei Navalny, former Russian opposition leader, when he was poisoned on a flight in 2020. And today on Bookwise, we're going to explore what it means to stand up against tyranny, put everything on the line, go through hunger strikes, poisoning attempts, all so that you can stand up for what you believe in through this book, Patriot, by Alexei Navalny. We're going to explore this through three lenses. What Navalny has to say about Vladimir Putin, what Navalny has to say about the war in Ukraine and Russia, and also Navalny's words of wisdom, inspiration, and hope. So pour yourself some cold vodka and some hot borscht as we explore what one man would go to, the lengths that he would go to stand up to one of the world's most tyrannical dictators. Welcome, readers and non-readers alike. I am your host, Britt Brewer, a.k.a. Dr. Books, and we are here for another episode of Bookwise from bookclub.com. So for the first part, we're going to explore what Navalny has to say about Vladimir Putin. And a lot of Navalny's thoughts around this have to do with Putin's cronies, and what Navalny characterizes as a very, very corrupt government. Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index said that in 2023, Russia scored a 26 out of 100, ranking at 141st out of 180 countries. This indicates a very, very high level of perceived corruption in the public sector. This is Navalny explaining why he hates Vladimir Putin. And this is from the book directly. If you were to ask me whether I hate Vladimir Putin, my answer would be yes. Yes, I hate him. But not because he tried to kill me or put my brother in prison. I hate Putin because he has stolen the last 20 years from Russia. Let's talk about Putin's palace. This was a big deal. Alexei Navalny, when he was recovering from the alleged poisoning incident, which we opened this episode with, he was involved in a project to show both the international community, but most importantly, the Russian people, where some of their tax funds, where a lot of the money that should have gone to public sector, should have gone to the country, how it was being siphoned off to build just an outrageously luxurious palace in the Black Sea. The project was codenamed Psycho because when we first looked at the plans of the site, with all of its cedars, golden eagles, and sofas that cost as much as a single apartment, our constant refrain was, this man is sick. He's obsessed with luxury. Okay, so this next section that we're going to explore is what Navalny has to say about the war in Ukraine situation in general. And this is something that I was really interested in hearing about. And this is something that, this really comes at the end of the book. The latter half of the book is his prison diaries. So Navalny enumerates a few of his sort of overall thoughts on the war, what it means. So I'm just going to read a few of these to you. Russia has to leave Ukraine alone and allow it to develop the way its people want. Stop the aggression and the war and withdraw all of its troops from Ukraine. Continuation of this war is just hysteria caused by powerlessness, and putting an end to it would be a strong move. And here's one more thing. Together with Ukraine, the United States, the EU, and the UK, we have to look for acceptable ways to compensate for the damage done to Ukraine. Here's a moment in some of Navalny's prison diaries where he expresses his position both as an opposition leader and as a Russian citizen. Every individual has the freedom to openly express their political beliefs. I express mine. I am against Vladimir Putin. I believe that he has illegally seized power. I believe that he is an illegitimate ruler and a promoter of corruption. I consider his entire team of accomplices to be criminals. They are crooks and thieves. So, you heard it here first, okay? Drain the swamp, bitches. Okay, so for our last section, Alexei Navalny is no longer with us, but he has some very powerful, inspiring words of wisdom. In reading this book, something that really stuck with me is whatever you believe, whether you're all the way on the Tucker Carlson at a Russian grocery store, or you were like, Yas Queen, Navalny, forever. What I really learned from this is just how much this guy, genuinely fought for the cause. He was poisoned. He kept coming back to Russia, even though he was going to be arrested, which he was. He's going to be poisoned, which he was. But he stayed because he loves this country. And he, while in prison, did a hunger strike. And what really, really just comes through in this book is his deep, deep love of Russia and the people that he wanted to lead, and how much he truly believes that this country deserves better. And, in a very, very cynical world, someone's passion, what they're willing to sacrifice, what they're willing to put themselves through and their body through, it's inspiring, because not a lot of people have that level of grit and passion and belief. And so I gotta say, I was inspired. I really was. So as we come to a close here on Bookwise, I thought it would be fitting to hear from Navalny himself. This was his last official recorded message. And so we're going to play a little bit of a clip. Navalny is speaking in his native tongue of Russian. So I will be translating this into English. We don't realize how strong we actually are. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. So don't be inactive. And thus we have come to the end of our episode where we cover Alexei Navalny's gripping memoir, Patriot. I am your host, Britt Brewer, a.k.a. Dr. Books. This has been another episode of Bookwise. And just remember, freedom ain't free. Happy reading.